All righty, we are recording.
Here we
Hi,
go.
everyone.
Hi.
I'm Joan Rulak, and this is my dear friend, Deb Madrid.
Hello, everyone.
And welcome to Two Girls Talk. So we've been dear friends for more than 40 years. And what I thought would be fun is to combine our magic skills and share them with you. Sorry, I'm reading my notes. In time, I will have this figured out. But for right now, I'm starting off with notes.
Notes are good.
We love notes.
We love notes.
So something we discovered is all of Deb's organizing clients ask for help with one thing. And the one question people always ask you, Deb, is,
how do I find fill in the blank?
And usually at that point, what we discovered is they're frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're tired or overwhelmed.
Yep.
And they can't access the energy required to do the project.
Exactly. And that's why they call us in.
Yeah, and I'm an energizer. So I'm like a lifestyle coach. I'm a Tai Chi Qigong energy teacher. And so I help people energize. So they would come to me with, instead of how can I find, it would be something is off balance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. Mind, body, spirit, emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And I go in and I help them find the energy that allows them to feel happier and healthier and have more inner peace.
And I come in with the physical stuff and help people create systems so that there is balance in their physical life. So that can be all aspects of the house or office, garage. Yeah, you name it, we organize it.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're really dedicated to is first being fun and entertaining. So, I mean, that was kind of one of my ideas. It's like, okay, we've got to be fun. But when you get together with your girlfriends, what you love is being heard,
Mm-hmm.
being listened to, being seen, being appreciated. And it's like you're almost getting the catbird seat of being on the inside of two dear friends who are rock stars at their own individual practices,
Right.
and put them together so that there may be something that we share that can help you on your next step forward.
Yes.
We don't know what that might be. It could be anything. So we're going to share tips for energizing and organizing, and we're going to share our resources because both of us have friends that come to us. Joan, I have this question. What is, oh, I need a new moisturizer, or I used to be in the beauty business. So something's not working. So I'm like the solutions girl for the boom, boom, boom. This is just non-stopping. And Deb is solutions.
Yeah. Lots of solutions. Yep. How do you get rid of things? How do you organize it? How do you put it in a place where you don't have enough space? Who are the best donation centers? Which are the ones that take appliances versus books? So lots of solutions between the two of us, lots of problem solving,
Yeah.
lots of creating balance in your life.
And creating. We're two uber creative people. And I think one of the things that we're doing, oh, and welcome to episode 3. This is the third one. And I said, give me the first quarter of January, February, March. By the end of first quarter, I think we'll be smooth. But right now, it's just like kind of like this. And I just thought, but that's real. That's just the reality of how life is. And I think that, today that's what we really wanted to talk about is each time I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to have sort of a topic that we play with?
Mm-hmm.
And the first video, episode 1, that you'll see on this site is I was suddenly had this wild idea to reorganize a bookshelf. Or my bookcase, actually, it was just a couple of shelves. And then we talked about that in the first episode.
Mhm.
And in there, Deb gave a closet tip on organizing the closet.
Mhm.
And as soon as I had just done what she was saying, and it had made such an impact. And I remember I was saying something, oh, I love my closets. I have luxurious closets. But the part that I want to say is, I don't have a big walk-in closet.
Mhm.
There's nothing fancy in any way. I am blessed to, I think I have like 5 or 6 feet of space in my closet. And to me, it was, I make use of that space in the most luxurious way for me.
Right.
It makes me happy.
Right.
So when I open it, I know, just for me, because it's a value to me,
Mhm.
that everything fits, is flattering.
Mhm.
It's organized in a way that is easy for me to find.
Mhm.
Work clothes, play clothes, clothes to go walking in, etc. So it doesn't matter what we want to organize, but there are like systems and ways, but we got to have the energy to do it.
That's right. That's right.
So Deb, when you're thinking about last time we were talking about, it was like, oh, maybe we'll talk about decluttering. It's like,
Mhm.
okay. So, and we're all about quick and easy tips that are really effective.
Right.
So we were kind of thinking of maybe talking about decluttering. And which direction do you feel like going with that?
Well, I do like the idea of decluttering, and talking about that now. And I like the idea that we're coming to the end of the year and everyone starts their New Year's resolutions in January. Um, so this is a really good time to talk about what happens after the holidays when you've got, lots of leftovers or lots of, wrapping papers and um, remnants of wrappings or toy boxes, all the things that come after the holidays. There's going to be an overabundance of things that we don't need in the house anymore, and some things just need to be stored, some things need to be tossed, some things can be given away. But January is always a good time to start thinking about, how do I create a little bit more space in my room now, that, or in my living space, whatever that means, whether you have a studio or a house. How do we create more space and more balance within that space? Now that I've got all this other stuff that I've just brought into the house, now what do I do with it? And so January is a good time to start thinking about decluttering those areas, and decluttering usually means purging some stuff. And so that's what I am thinking about talking about today, is
Yeah.
how do you declutter and purge at the same time?
Okay. So let's do a little formula.
Yeah.
Declutter and purge at same time.
Mm-hmm.
So years ago, I created this little, or produced, I think is maybe the way to say it, little Oracle card deck. It's called Little Island Cards. And the card deck is, every card has 1, 2, or 3 words on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I decided would be fun for these calls that we do is to see, let's bring some energy. So Deb's identifying something we want to talk about. So decluttering and purging.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at what is some energy that might be a way to energize and give us some momentum on that. So Deb, why don't you pick a card that you think, whatever energy you're going to be sharing?
Okay. All right. So I just picked release. Let me get that closer.
Oh my gosh, release
Resistance.
resistance.
That's perfect for today.
And it's so perfect. And here's what I want you to know. This is a really cheeky deck. And it's not, you need to release resistance.
Mhm.
Instead, I want you to think of the 45 cards.
Mhm.
Today, you're being honored for your ability to release resistance.
Mhm.
It's not about doing something because that takes effort.
Right.
This is about embodying,
Mhm.
releasing resistant energy.
Mhm. Yes, exactly.
So you have that embodied starting point. And then I'm going to bring in
Embrace grace. Love it.
embrace grace. So I would say, Deb, you correct me on this. Grace would not be a word that would come to mind if I was thinking about purging and decluttering.
No, not initially. Not initially,
Not
because
the energy to do it. You don't
no,
think of that.
you don't think that at all. Because when I think most people's first thought when they're thinking about the things that they need to do in terms of decluttering and purging is, oh my God, where do I start?
Yeah.
Where do I start? And that's where people get stuck. And this releasing resistance is so perfect because it's time for you to just relax into it.
And here's the beauty. Oh, I love this. I love this. And it's like, so let's, because remember, I'm the energy person and
Mhm.
she's the organizer. So the energy person is saying, okay, let's embrace grace of who
Mhm.
we are. Because each of us has a sense of grace, male, female, whatever our,
Mhm.
however we are identifying.
Right.
Okay. We all have that ability to embrace grace.
Mhm.
And why might that be of value in organizing? Because embracing grace allows us, helps us to release resistance.
Right.
And then I want to bring in the moon. So it's something that I'll talk about in all, I mean, we'll use oracle cards in all of the things I do it with my Tai Chi classes, my Qigong practices, all my private clients. Oracle cards are in everything I do, just committed to that. It's just one of my true passions. And I'm fascinated by the moon because she governs our emotions and feelings.
Mhm.
And so when we were born, we each have a unique chart of all aspects of us. And the moon lets you know where the moon, what sign your moon is in, or what element your moon is, lets you know how do you process your emotions. And so I think it's fun to know what's the moon in the sky, excuse me, at the time
Mhm.
that we hold these things, because that's the energy that's behind you.
Right.
So think of it this way. These cards, they're the wind at your back that's helping you move forward. It's
Mhm.
not like this where you're like,
No.
it's the opposite. You're being supported.
Exactly. Think of it as, somebody's got their arm around you and guiding you
Deb
toward.
and I are on each side of you holding your hands.
Exactly.
So here's the card for, and Deb just happens to be a Sag.
Just happen to be a sad.
So she's bringing on the fire and I'm bringing on a lot of air, all that thinking. And So what do you get is a lot of enthusiasm. And what's this say?
Focus
Focus on the
positive.
positive. And I think one of the most important things before starting anything is, and that's why we're doing this with the Oracle cards, before we even get into decluttering, overwhelm, whatever it could be. Oh, purging, decluttering and purging.
Mhm.
It's like, well, first let's have our heart and our minds in the right place. Let's start off by embracing grace. My thought is, let's set the scene. Let's not be in our oldest, baggiest sweats. If you're, put on some lip gloss.
Yeah.
Bring something to it. Gather your tools in advance.
Right.
Show up for yourself in such a way.
Mhm.
Have a glass of water. Put on your favorite tunes. Have it be a celebration. Embrace the grace of who you are in your own way. Deb
Right.
and I would do it completely differently because we're two completely different persons.
Exactly.
And so you'll find your way. But now, Deb, you give us the tips, because now we know a little bit about the energy.
Mhm.
We're focusing on the positive.
Right.
What would be the positive outcome of knowing a little bit more about decluttering and purging?
So the first thing that comes to my mind right now is when you're decluttering and purging things that no longer work for you. They're either broken, they're stained, they don't fit depending on the situation and depending on what you're decluttering. But when you rid yourself of things that no longer work for you, you're actually opening space and welcoming things that will work for you. So all those new gifts that you got at Christmas time or for Hanukkah or whatever celebration you practice, you're going to receive things. And purging allows you to receive that. Okay. So you're clearing space when you declutter and purge for that receipt.
Like making room.
You're making room. Exactly. Exactly. And the thing is all of the items that live in your home or in your office or in your desk, they all require a little room. They like a little wiggle room. And that's what decluttering is all about, is giving your things a little wiggle room, rather than having them packed in there in such a way that you can't find it, or you have to, rummage around in a drawer or something to find, the scissors, as an example, right? It's like, and then trying to close the drawer again because there are too many things inside the drawer. So when we were talking earlier about, how do you get to that point of decluttering and purging? By the time my client calls me in, they're up to here. They can't do it anymore. So I'm going to pare this down a little bit for sort of the beginner, the person that doesn't know where to start. Maybe you can't call me in yet for budgetary reasons. I get that. But everybody can do a little piece, maybe once a week. And I'm going to start with a drawer. And everybody has a junk drawer except me. I don't have a junk drawer. I don't believe in junk drawers.
Neither.
Yeah. So, but a lot of folks have a junk drawer. Well, we can call that a utility drawer, but that utility drawer probably has stuff in there that doesn't work anymore. So the first thing that you want to do, and I'm going to make this as easy as possible, but the first thing you want to do is you want to take everything out of that drawer and put it on the counter or wherever. Just make sure that you got a nice blank space and you take everything out of that drawer. The second thing you do is you either take a wipe or your little shop vac, your little vacuum cleaner, whatever, and you clean out that drawer. Just clean it out, get it ready. And if it's not
pretty,
yeah, exactly. And if it's not lined, get some really pretty liner to line that drawer. Make sure you cut it just right. There are different ways of doing that. We can talk about that in another session, maybe.
oh yeah, that would be good. I'm terrible at that.
Yeah,
Glad you know how to do that.
I'm pretty bad at it too, but I do have tips for that.
Okay,
And
good.
maybe I can even, we can even put it in the content later. But line the drawer, get the drawer lined so it's nice and clean. And so when you put things back in there, you're starting fresh, and even the items themselves are going to be fresh. Okay, so then you go to all the items that are on your counter, right? And you've laid them all out. Start sorting them. So put all the pencils and pens next to each other. Put the scissors next to each other. If you've got rubber bands in that drawer, put the rubber bands together. So basically you're going to put like with like. Okay. And then if you have little organizers, now's the time to use them. So here's where it gets a little tricky. Each drawer has a specific width, it's got a specific length, and it's got a specific depth.
Hi, Phoebe.
This is our daily hello from Phoebe. So what you're going to want to do at that point is make sure that any organizers that you get are going to fit specifically to the depth, because the depth is going to be a little bit more important than how many organizers you actually have in there, because each drawer depth it's tricky. You get really, really narrow, kind of short depth drawers, and not everything fits inside of those drawers. And then you got the ones that are really deep. And so let's just take sort of a normal drawer, and there are different kinds of things that you can use. And I just happen to have something like this. This is 1 3/4. So this will fit
sideways, Deb, so you can kind of, so people can, or turn it up. Oh, okay. Got it.
Okay, so this just has my paper clips in it. I'll just dump it out. Okay, so that's what this looks like. And if you can see it, it's got little feet on it.
Yeah.
And it's small. So this is just my desk drawer, and I keep my paper clips in it. This also has another thing. And so I have a slightly different drawer height. Now it becomes, this is 1 3/4 inch. This is a little over a 1/2 inch. The two of them together setting on their feet are about 2.5 inches. So I can't do more than 3 inches with this in a drawer. But for those really narrow drawers, something like this works really, really well. And they come in longer lengths. So if you have pencils or pens or rulers or whatever, the long ones are going to work really well. And if you have the space, then you can stack them, and that creates a little bit of room in your drawer. But measuring the drawers is going to be really, really key. And the one helpful hint that I can give you at right now is to just take a sheet of paper or several sheets of paper, however you want to do it. And what you would do is, before you go and buy this stuff, don't buy this stuff until you've measured the drawer, okay? And what you can do is just stick various pieces of paper together so that they fit the bottom of the drawer, and just make sure that you know what your depth is. And once you have them, tape them all together so that they fit exactly the size of the drawer. And you bring this to your Container Store or your home goods store or Target or whatever. And then you start laying these out
on it. So you have like a template.
So you've got a template, super easy. You don't even really have to measure.
Yeah.
Really don't even have to measure.
That idea.
And then when you go to the store, you can start laying them out. And what you're going to want to do is make sure that you have measurements for the longest thing in your drawer, and then maybe the shortest thing in your drawer, so that each of these things fits appropriately in the drawer. So like your scissors are not, they're not going to fit in this, but they'll fit in something a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But you also want to make sure that that long thing, whatever it is, fits in the deepest or widest part of the drawer. And then all of the rest of these can fit around it, depending on what you're putting in that drawer. So you're going to want one for paper clips. You're going to want one for probably rubber bands. You're going to want one for pencils. You're going to want one for this, for the scissors. So every like item goes into its own little container. And then you now have an organized drawer.
I think this is great. You know, I was thinking when you said that, oh, I don't have a junk drawer. And I went, well, wait a second, let's reframe that. Utility drawer. So I have it
Utility
right
drawer.
by my refrigerator in the kitchen. And those, I have it set up with, a box in there, etc.
Yeah.
But what I'm realizing is like this idea of a template. I have never measured that. I've just always just kind of stuck things in, see if that, oh, it's good enough.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden I'm going, I've got a couple of drawers that are like key that if I did that, I think what I'm going to, this was really good, Deb. I think what I'm going to do is maybe this weekend, maybe Sunday, take my two drawers apart, three. I've got a desk drawer, one in my office, one that I use for business in my living room, and one for business in my kitchen. So I've got 3 business drawers.
Okay.
Everything else is done, but they're not bad. But what I was just realizing, I've never done this, taken all the empty containers and lined up all my empty containers and then seeing where do they work best amongst the 3 drawers and reappropriate what goes where.
Right.
Oh, I'm excited. And I love those see-through ones. Like, I mean, those ones that you have there.
Yeah, I have these. And then
They're great.
I've got a few more here, like this. So one of the things that I've learned too with working with clients is that you have to be really careful about the things that stack, because something like this that has a short foot to it stacks really neatly on top of the other box, and you still have all of the space in that box. Now, these are really cool because they're really narrow. And they kind of fill in the spaces where no matter how well
things don't fit.
Right. And no matter how nice your drawer is, you're not going to be able to fit like 5 of these all together. These are what I call like the filler pieces. What I'm looking for are spacers for drawers, so that when you do put these things together, things don't move around. But this might do it. But when you look at this, this also stacks, but you only get this much space. And that doesn't works in some cases, but not in others. And like this would be too narrow for, say, pencils and pens. I would maybe use this for makeup brushes because they're a little narrower. And you can see my cat getting into trouble behind me.
Phoebe's on a mission.
She's on a mission. Yeah.
She's reorganizing. Oh no, she's gonna have a nice nap.
She's gonna have a nap. Yeah, she's good up there. But that's just something to watch out for. It's like if you're looking for things that stack, make sure that you have space in the stackable parts.
Yeah, stacking is not good for me.
Yeah.
I like everything visible, easy access.
Yeah.
It's one more step that I do not want. I'm moving too quickly.
Yeah.
I just want it boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
What fits in there and
what works.
It's easy if you don't have, like, I have like some old antique pieces that have weird shaped drawers or whatever. And if you don't use these sort of organizing tools, things can get behind something and then you think you've lost it.
Right. Right.
And it was there the whole time, but I didn't know it was there.
Yeah.
The box I had in front of it, I couldn't see it.
Yes.
So I have to keep things really simple. That's why straightforward. So those are great tips.
So I'm a big fan of clear boxes, clear boxes, clear tubs, anything that's clear, because you can see into them really, really easily, particularly in a pantry. I have a mix of things when it comes to my drawers and my cabinets and so forth. For me, it's just whatever fits. Some people like baskets. I like baskets for some things, but not for everything, because I'm a person where if it's clear, I can see it. I know what's in it. I know how much I've got versus how much I don't have. Do I need to go shopping for it? If it's in a basket, I don't see it. I have to pull it all the way out and look inside of it to see how much is inside of it. And if it's something that I don't use very often, then that's okay. But I do recommend, I've got something else here for you.
Oh, good.
This is a clip that goes on the outside of baskets, and it's kind of wide like this. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh,
Yeah. And then it's got a label, and these labels are really easy to replace. So you can just, cut an index card down if you need to replace it. But they fit on baskets really well. Like this is too thick for,
right.
this.
I
But
get the idea though.
yeah, they fit really well on baskets. And so like if you have snack baskets or something like that, or just baskets that you put things in that you don't use very often, and you write on the label and you stick that on the outside, makes your life so much more easy. Now, these are not cheap. These I only come 3 to a package. Why they don't put even numbers, I'll never know. But this came 3 to a package. I can't remember how much it was, maybe $9. Container store, but they're brilliant. I love these.
But the thing is when you get something like that,
Yeah.
they last you, they're not going to wear out.
This is not going to wear out. It's metal.
Yeah,
It's
no,
metal.
that's
This is
great.
a really nice one. It would even be kind of hard to stretch out. And if you're really, really, concerned about the movement of this, you can either use double-sided tape to adhere it,
Sure.
or just get a label maker and just put the label directly on there. If you use a
Oh,
label maker, the labels will come off really easy. They'll come off super easy. Maybe a little rubbing alcohol or something to remove any excess glue or whatever, but they peel off really, really easy, as opposed to, some like an Avery type label. So I don't like to use Avery labels. I like to use regular label makers with the little strips. It's just nice. And and if you like a different font, you can always change the font on the label maker. So that will make it pretty too.
love it.
Yeah. And I like that better than printed out labels, because those are the ones that stick and then you got to remove them and they're kind of a pain. The other ones peel right off. So anyway, that's part of I guess that's it to my purging and decluttering of a drawer. But when you are, let me go back to one more thing. When you are clearing out a drawer, make sure you toss the things that don't work. The empty pens, if you've got, a bent up paper clip or something, those kinds of things, just toss them. Anything that doesn't work, it's broken, it's empty. When you're thinking about doing clothing, stuff that's stained, has holes in it, if you're not going to repair that stuff, don't keep it. Just send it on its way. If it's stained and holey, just toss it. If it doesn't fit, but it's in good shape, consider donating it.
Love it. Well, these were some great tips today. And yeah, I hadn't even thought of myself as a junk drawer, but I went, wait a second, ideas are really good. Let me kind of rethink it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
And what are some of the stores you said? Sometimes you'll go to Target, sometimes the Container Store.
Yeah. So the Container Store will probably have what you need. They're also the most expensive. So although they do have a range of prices of things. So if you want everything to match, or you're having trouble with sizes, particularly with the depth of the drawer, and you need something that's maybe less deep to fit in those hard to size drawers, that would be the place to go, is the Container Store. Target does have some good, and they're coming up with much better ideas of products. Another place that I go to, and I go to I guess the outlet stores, I guess you could say, the TJ Maxx's, the Marshalls, and the Home Goods, you can get plenty of product from there. But just remember that if you find like a basket or a bin that looks like this today, you're not going to find it there tomorrow
Yeah.
because their stuff is going to be limited. So if you think you need 4 of these and they've got the 4 by the 4, because they won't
Always
carry it
return
all
it
the
later
time.
if you don't use it.
Exactly, exactly. And Container Store is kind of the same thing. I mean, at
Yep.
least find everything you need. Um, and if you bring your template with you, then you can line it all
I
up
love that.
and make sure that it all fits. For those of you that like the bamboo containers, Costco is offering sets of bamboo containers that are very reasonably priced. Drawer organizers basically. And let's see, where else can you go for IKEA?
Beautiful.
But again, IKEA is not going to have everything you need, but it does have a lot of good organizing products. But the key is always, no matter what you're going to organize and put product in, whatever that is, if it's a drawer, if it's a closet, you must measure. You must measure the length, you have to measure the depth, and you have to measure the height. Because if you don't get that, you're going to buy a lot of stuff that's not going to fit.
I've certainly done that.
I've done that too. We've all been there. We've all been there. And it's probably better to kind of overbuy a little bit and
That's right.
return what you don't need than to
I wish I had a Container Store nearby where I could go. That would be really,
online.
yeah. That
On
and that might just be what I do is just try
Yeah.
it.
Amazon. So Amazon, you can find plenty of things on Amazon, but I can never guarantee Amazon because I don't know what the quality actually is.
Yeah.
And I don't know how well it will hold up over time. At least with a Container Store, you're going to get a good quality product. So that's
Yeah.
always going to be the
Absolutely.
go-to place. But if you're on a budget, try Amazon. I know that one of
And
the products,
Costco. I mean,
Costco, yeah, Costco will have a good product.
and I think, actually, I really like all these tips because first Target, things are always coming and going. But when
Mhm.
you hit like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods, when you see it, buy it. You can
Right,
return it later.
right,
We've all learned the hard way, fall in love with something. It worked fantastic, better than we expected. We go back and it's no more.
up there, yeah.
So
But it's
that's
kind
kind of,
of a
I think
budget,
that's a good takeaway.
yeah,
But for budget, that's a really great one.
yeah.
Costco bamboo drawer organizers, that's fun. IKEA,
Mhm.
absolutely. And so, and the Container Store, and some of these are online, some of these are in person. And you
Right,
have to do what works for you and your
exactly,
style.
exactly, exactly. And I will try to meet my client where they are. So if they are literally at, 0 budget, then save up those shoe boxes and save up those jewelry boxes and save up little boxes that other, if your tea comes in a box, save the tea boxes, save those. You can always wrap them in wrapping paper if you don't want to see the outside of the box, but they're perfect for storing things until you have a budget where you can,
Yeah.
get the containers that you actually want. And it's actually a great idea to use those little boxes because then you'll see what fits and what doesn't fit. You'll see what works for you in terms of when you're organizing that junk drawer, or you're organizing your underwear drawer, whatever the case may be, you'll figure out what actually works for you. Because you might find that you put a system in place and it's just not right.
Yeah.
You're always going to end up tweaking whatever system you put in place. There are very few systems that don't need tweaking. One of them is laundry. You're always
Yeah.
going to need a hamper for laundry. But when it comes to actually drawer organization or even closet organization, some things are just going to work better than others, and you won't know it until you try it.
Well, and this time of year, something that I was just thinking of when you were talking. I love fragrance. I used to be in the beauty business, and I find that I can buy certain certain things I like from France that I can buy from at fragrance.net for like 40-50% off,
Nice.
times more. Well, I bought myself a Christmas present of a gift set,
Okay.
and it came in this fabulous box.
Okay.
And the box is so beautiful. I saved the box and I went, oh my gosh. It's not using your template formula, but I went, I'm not sure where I'm going to use it yet.
Yeah.
The box is so beautiful. If I just have the box, I've saved it just because I just look at it and go, oh, it's so beautifully made. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, okay, can that help in one of my utility drawers or one of my, and I'll have to go around and see, because the best part about having a beautiful box is you've got the lid
Yeah.
and the body of the box.
Right.
So they can work in like different locations. But that to me was that's just another thought I had for holiday boxes that we're receiving for certain gifts, or
Exactly.
like you're saying, you're buying a set of tea, or sometimes I'll buy a set of something, and then I'll break it apart and share it with different girlfriends. We'll get different parts from that same original set.
Right.
Then I'm not going to give them the box because they're all going in to different people.
Right.
But then instead of just, recycling the box, all of a sudden it's like, save those great boxes, because you can use the body of the box and the lid for repurposing
Right.
these utility drawer options.
Sure. And then once you've upgraded to,
Right.
to this kind of a container or something like it, you can always use those cardboard boxes in the garage to organize tools and, screws and nails and, all those other little things that, you're constantly looking for, instead of, buying the fancy
Love it.
nail boxes.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, I think we did a good job on this today. How about you? Does it seem like we kind of covered what you were thinking of?
Oh my God, I can talk forever on this, but yes, I think we covered it. And if we didn't, please send us a note
Yeah.
in the comments section and we'll address it next time around.
Yeah, and I go right back to what were the cards we pulled: release resistance and embrace grace, and focus on the positive.
Exactly.
So focus on the positive. How do we do that? Well, we embrace grace. Well, how do we do that? We release resistance.
Exactly. So, that old t-shirt that you got in college that doesn't fit anymore and you have a lot of memory for it, it's okay to release it, because you're going to receive something that's just as good.
It's kind of like making room or making space.
Mm-hmm.
Love it, love it, love it. So what did I write down here? Let's see. How about it? I thought, one thing we could do, let me just see where this is, was repeat, just sort of review a couple of energy practices that I shared on video 1 and 2. So the first one, I think, could be very helpful for when you're in like that chaos overwhelm. It's like, do I do this junk drawer or not? To start, put a hand on your forehead and a hand on the back of the head. My eyes automatically close. And why that's helpful is if you find decluttering stressful, we end up going into that fright or flight mode.
Exactly.
When you place your hand on your forehead and the back of the head, your blood return. Well, let me tell you how this works. So when you go into flight or fright, the blood leaves your brain and it goes to your heart, your lungs, and your muscles, so you can run away from the saber-toothed tiger that's chasing you. And, in the olden days, 1,000+ years ago, a couple thousand years ago, after the tiger stopped chasing you, you'd chill out,
Mhm.
In about 15, 20 minutes, you'd be back to normal. Well, with cell phones and the constant attention, oftentimes our system doesn't naturally reset back to that state of ease. And so by putting our hands on our head, front and back, you know, it attracts the blood back to the brain. So now the blood has left our muscles, lungs, and heart that was, or we had an excess of it. It's returning to normal. So the organs start to reharmonize. And you can just take your hands off now. And what ends up happening is you're going to be able to make a better choice.
Mhm.
I mean, you can just listen to my voice as to how much more relaxed I am now than when I was talking. Of all the movements that I share in all my Qigong classes and my energy healing work, that's the number one practice that I think is the easiest to get the best result. So if you ever feel overwhelmed and you're really looking for, well, what's a way I can kind of release resistance? How do I find the grace to be positive for all of this? Start off doing just something like this to like give yourself a break and give yourself room. Maybe calendarize it. You
Mhm.
know, you have a day off and you're going to give yourself 15 minutes to review that drawer. We don't have to do things all at once. You
True.
can do little here, little there. But today we have some tips that you can now go and explore. And we don't need to put anything at the bottom because we've already shared everything.
Right.
I mean, I might put a couple of things down there, but it's just like when you're out on your daily adventures, if you measure, like Deb said, if you measure your drawer to where you have a template, I have never done that. I just buy great organizers and bring them home and see what does or doesn't work.
Yeah.
But I love this idea of taking my drawer out or going in and putting the paper in there and
Mhm.
finding the shape that it fits in and taping it, and then going to Target or a Container Store, wherever I wanted to be, with the focus of buying some solutions for that drawer, and that I could literally place them on the template. I think that's brilliant, Deb. I would have never thought of that. I just would have never come up with something. That's just so clever and saves us a lot of time and energy
Yeah.
because right then you can go, okay, I need this, this, and this done.
Right.
Perfect. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. And I hope everything that I said today was useful, and
Yeah, and if you like
happy purging.
yeah, exactly. If you like the content, down below, hit the like button and subscribe, and you'll know when we'll find out. I mean, you'll know when this is posted.
Yeah.
Our aim is that we have one of these posted every other week.
Mhm.
And that's the goal going forward. We're kind of almost there now.
Almost there. Yeah.
And then I'll share an oracle card reading in between. So every other time, Deb and I will do Two Girlfriends Talk. And then on the opposite week, the week after, I'll do something on oracle card reading for that time with the moon, etc.
Mhm.
So thank you, thank you. Anything you need to say, Deb, or are we good to go?
Happy holidays. Enjoy this time with your friends and family, or in my case, my furry friends. Um, enjoy the peace that this time can bring. Remember, we're in Mercury retrograde, which means that communication is going to be a little off. So have a little patience, and Happy New Year, and we'll see you in January.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, I'm going to be doing a really special practice that I will post here. It's a a mudra mantra meditation that's just a few minutes to do, that's all about, delivers that sense of ease and peace and quiet. And I'm going to film that and post that for you between Christmas and New Year's. So
I
you'll have,
love it.
so that'll be up there. So it'll be a chill end of the year.
That's great. I love it.
So bye, guys. Thank you so
Bye.
much for coming by, and
You.
see you next year.
See you next year.
Bye for now.
Bye.
So let's see.